as millions seek refuge in neighboring countries.
The Ukrainian Cultural Center is sending medical goods to Ukraine, while volunteers are hopeful they can make a positive impact.
And are you on the hunt for the least expensive gas prices? We're here to help. Coming up next.
Annenberg TV News is next.
The United Nations says nearly 2 million people have fled Ukraine since the Russian invasion. Good evening, I'm Sydney Charles.
And I'm Cassie Esparza. It's been 2 weeks since Russia launched its attacks, and the humanitarian crisis is getting worse. A convoy of refugees has arrived in the southeastern city of Zaporizhzhia, where a temporary ceasefire was in effect. Most of them were women and children coming in large buses. Ukraine officials say a Russian airstrike last night in the city of Sumy killed at least 21 people, including children. Local authorities say the attack also destroyed several homes in the area. Ukraine also accused Russia of attacking a children's hospital and maternity ward in the city of Mariupol. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said there are people and children under the wreckage. On Twitter, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky called the hospital strike an atrocity. He urged Western allies to impose a no-fly zone over Ukraine. He also addressed Russia saying, quote, "You have the power, but you seem to be losing humanity." The Ukrainian Culture Center, also known as UCC in Los Angeles, is working around the clock to help support people under attack in Ukraine. The UCC normally serves as a banquet hall, but now it's being used as a space for volunteers to collect donations and organize events to help people in Ukraine. Today, they're packaging medical goods to send to people living near and even on the front lines.
I might have probably been here anyway because, you know, it's an unprovoked war of aggression against Ukraine, trying to take over the country, a sovereign nation.
All the things that our parents told us that happened in the past, we thought was going to stay in the past. And here it is now, happening in front of our eyes. It's a lot. It's too much to handle.
For more information on how to support Ukraine during this difficult time, you can visit their website, ukrainianculturecenterla.com.
The Chernobyl nuclear plant in Ukraine was disconnected from the power grid after Russian forces attacked the site. Ukraine is also home to 4 other nuclear power plants. Despite concerns, a UN nuclear watchdog says that it, quote, sees no critical impact on safety. But a USC nuclear expert says there are steps to ensure there are no attacks in the nuclear zone.
Restore power to Chernobyl, to let the 200 workers to go home, to restore power to city of Slovuche, and to declare these 4 nuclear plants in Ukraine, no-fly zone, no fighting zone, no conflict zone.
Mishkati says the neighboring country of Belarus could help influence Russia. Belarus is a Russian ally, however, would be harmed if there were damage to the nuclear sites. Drivers are feeling the squeeze at gas pumps across Southern California. Reporter Marilyn Parra tells us just how far people are willing to go for a good deal.
LA County drivers are on the hunt for the cheapest gas. The website Gas Buddy reports that the lowest price per gallon can be found in Long Beach. At Rocket Fuel, customers are spending about $1 less than the county average. Some drivers are willing to brave long lines to get a good deal.
My uncle actually told me about this gas station, and it's been the cheapest, you know, since I've been coming here over like a year and a half, 2 years.
Anthony Madrigal has even found ways to squeeze more out of the pump.
It has to do something with gravity, and it kind of tricks the pump into giving you more gas. It's a poor people trick.
According to AAA, the average price for gas in LA is $5.65, a 15% increase since last week. Places like Rocket Fuel are open to everyone, but to find the second best price for gas, you're going to need a membership. The Costco in Signal Hill is the second lowest price on Gas Buddy. Here, people are waiting 30 minutes and more to fill their gallon for a slightly lower price.
I've never appreciated Costco as much as I do right now. I'm here during my lunch hour, and I thought I would be able to zip in and zip out within, 15 minutes. I have now, from start to just pulling up to the pump, I've been in line for about 35 minutes.
It used to cost Nindo $40 to fill her car, and now it has doubled. Some people are going the extra mile. As you can see, these two Costco workers helped a driver who ran out of gas in order to pay less. But paying less may mean long lines or even driving to another city. For Annenberg Media, I'm Marilyn Parra.
LA City Council has voted to have the city attorney prepare a new ordinance that could remove the city's proof of vaccination requirement. This move comes only days after LA County dropped the indoor mask mandate for both vaccinated and unvaccinated people. The proof of vaccination requirement was one of the strictest of its kind when enacted. It has been in effect since November of last year. The mandate requires proof of vaccination for people 12 and older to enter restaurants, gyms, entertainment and recreation facilities, as well as large outdoor events.
Certainly in line with what we're seeing around the county, and it was really just a matter of time before they lift the vaccination mandate for indoor businesses as well. Well, we certainly need to continue to stress the importance of getting vaccinated. So the message shouldn't be, well, if you're not vaccinated, you don't have to worry about it now. We still need to reinforce those public health intervention and mitigation strategies that we know work.
As restrictions continue to ease, LA public health officials still encourage people to get vaccinated and to wear masks indoors. Once the new ordinance is ready, it'll go back to the city council for a final vote. Community members are gathered right now for an anti-Asian hate vigil. Reporter Sofia Gonzalez is live at the USC Village. Sofia?
I'm right next to the USC Village where community members are holding a vigil to remember the lives that were lost, specifically 6 Asian women's lives that were lost in the Atlanta shooting that took place last year. Since then, anti-Asian hate crimes have only continued, with just last week, a man in New York attacked 7 Asian women within the span of 2 hours. According to the Center for the Study of Hate and Extremism, anti-Asian hate crimes in 2021 surged to over 4 times the 2020 rates in the U.S. In Los Angeles, the numbers nearly tripled over the last year.
So I was just saying our nation has a long legacy of anti-Asian hate and violence, and really during the pandemic we saw it roll out live across the news in our hometowns and across the nation as many Asians were targeted for spreading coronavirus. Doing here today is really just acknowledging that we're here to support one another, and that we're sick of being targeted with violence just for how we look or where our families and ancestors came from.
The organizations present hope to create more consciousness about anti-Asian hate crimes. Back to the studio.
Thank you, Sofia. The American Indian Student Association at UCLA is demanding equal access to quality education. Reporter Alena Botros shows how they're gaining support after posting on Instagram.
UCLA students are standing in solidarity with the Native American community on campus. On Instagram, a Native Bruins post has over 500 likes. The group wants to be heard, respected, and have equal access to a quality education and UCLA experience.
Their concerns are very valid, and also as another student of color in another community, part of the Southeast Asian community, it doesn't surprise me that their community wants more support. It doesn't surprise me that they're crying for help and that they want extra support.
If they request all of these things, it's very important that they are heard and listened to, and that there is communication with the administration to have these needs heard.
Native American students make up less than 1% of UCLA's freshman class, and that can create a sense of isolation for these students.
And so you have these universities who are advocating for diversity and inclusion, but at the same time, they still don't know the complexities of Indigenous people.
Avery Wyatt is the co-chairman of the American Indian Graduate Student Association at UCLA.
To be an entire community and come from a community like myself, I come from a reservation, so where I'm surrounded by entirely Native people all the time. And to go into college where you're surrounded by know Native people and you actually have to seek out these Native people, I think that's a very difficult experience.
Here at USC, the Director of Public Relations for the Native American Student Union says there are still changes that need to happen.
Native students across campuses, even just here at USC, have such unique experiences. But I think generally speaking, these changes shouldn't fall on the students, and it really should come from the institutions and faculty themselves. For me personally, I think it's great, and I'm here to support them.
Students across both USC and UCLA hope for reform and more representation among the Native American community. For Annenberg Media, I'm Alena Botros.
Will a no instruction day lead to higher voter turnout? USG is pushing for the change.
The Los Angeles mayoral debate is coming to USC. What to expect coming up next.
The effects of COVID-19 are changing how people are going about their daily lives. We talked to an expert about how to manage the change.
Worried your friend's struggling but don't know how to reach out?
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could write them a text or knit them a sweater. If you can't be together, you could write them a letter. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You could ask on your couch while you binge watch. However you do it, you gotta ask a friend. And if they don't share, you can ask again. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckle tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand, trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Undergraduate student government has a new plan to get more students to vote in local and national elections. They have proposed a voting holiday to increase turnout among students. We spoke to the Speaker of the Senate to learn more.
USC holiday is just the first step. We're hoping to create a permanent mail-in center at USC. We're hoping to have a voter registration system on the My USC website. So it's going to be part of a long-term initiative.
We also talked with students about the new USG proposal.
Universities and classes take up a lot of a student's time, and voting is a very important aspect in our daily lives, especially being a citizen and having a voice.
I don't know if it's totally necessary just because I've only ever voted online and it really just took me like 5 minutes to complete the process, so I don't really feel like I needed the whole day.
This proposition just needs President Folt's approval to be put into place. Approving this could make voting a much higher priority for USC students.
USC is hosting the next debate in the race for mayor of Los Angeles. We spoke to a moderator and an executive director of the Dornsife Center for the Political Future about what to expect.
We wanted to create a forum where we could really understand substantively who are these people, what are their platforms, what do they have to say, and what do we, the voters, like or dislike about their messages?
Now, our city is at a tough place right now when it comes to homelessness, when it comes to crime. There are a lot of people that feel like we're going in the wrong direction and feel like we're ready for some fresh leadership. It's going to be a substantive discussion where we're going to be able to hear a lot of different points of view. And I think it's valuable for democracy and valuable for voters to be able to have this opportunity to hear from people.
The debate is set for March 22nd at 6 p.m. in Boulevard Auditorium. The candidates debating will be Congresswoman Karen Bass, City Council members Kevin De Leon and Joe Buscaino, City Attorney Mike Feuer and developer, and USC trustee Rick Caruso. The primary for the LA mayoral election is June 7th. The top two candidates will go head-to-head in the general election on November 8th. Students have been testing positive for COVID-19 since March of 2020. Many were under the impression that after quarantining and recovering, they were good to go. But reporter Katz is here with more on the long-term effects of the virus.
As the pandemic continued to interrupt life as we know it, hundreds of thousands of those diagnosed with COVID-19 were asymptomatic, experiencing a minor headache or a stuffy nose. But many of those so-called lucky individuals are now showing COVID-like symptoms weeks, months, and even years after their first positive test.
Since last February, I started experiencing just a wide range of weird symptoms that I actually didn't even know were possible to result from COVID. One of them being just like persistent brain fog. I've had really bad cognitive impairment and cognitive loss from like just difficulty reading to difficulty writing, difficulty focusing. And I've been meeting with doctors and just trying to find a way to kind of mitigate what I've been experiencing. And one of those things was kind of taking a step back from school. People just need support right now. People that you don't even really know are struggling, could be struggling with this and not even know that they're struggling with it.
Don't feel I was quite the same as far as energy wise. When I finally did go back to work, and, you know, I thought it would go away after a while, but I'm still tired. I forget things that I normally don't forget. I don't know what there is really to do other than just kind of tough through it.
Here to join me now and clear up some of your long COVID confusion and questions is Dr. Wong-Beringer, an Associate Dean of Research and Infectious Disease Expert in the USC School of Pharmacy. Dr. Wong, hi. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
So just so we can set a baseline, how do we define long COVID and this, experience of pandemic brain?
Yeah, long COVID, it's really a condition of multiple type of symptoms that can linger on for weeks and months after the virus is gone. So in addition to the fatigue and brain fog that you're hearing from students, some patients may actually experience rapid heart rates and shorter breath. So it's preventing short-term memory loss. It's preventing people from being able to go back to work full-time or back to school and re-engaging in their daily lives.
And because there's so much about, long COVID that is unknown because all of this research is pretty recent, from what we know so far, is it a one-size-fits-all, diagnosis, prognosis, and are all cases looking the same? What's the situation there?
Yeah, the challenge really in trying to find the cause for this is the variable presentation from patient to patient. There is no one size fit all. We don't know who will likely get it. Patients who develop very mild symptoms can develop long COVID compared to also patients who have severe infection. So we really don't know who's at risk per se.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Wang, thank you so much for joining us with your insight. And while this research has new developments every single day, if any of these symptoms maybe struck a chord or are relatable to you, make sure you communicate your experience to a friend, a family member, or even a teacher. And don't forget that the Engelman Student Health Center also has appointments available on their website. You can also just call 213-740-9355. And for now, Lupe, let's send it over to weather. What's going on in the sky? What's going on with the weather? What can you tell us?
Thanks, Ella. The sky was looking blue. The day was beautiful, sunny, and we love all of that. But you know what else was today? National Get It Over Day. Today, people everywhere were encouraged to self-reflect and move on from whatever is weighing down on them. So I like to go to the beach. But anyways, enough of that little pep talk. With that, let's look into your current conditions. 60 degrees, and let me just tell you, it's only gonna get better. So if we look into your forecast, look at this. So yeah, tomorrow it's 67, but look, into Friday, and then into the weekend, it gets even better. 70-degree weather, and then of course we know what's next week for USC students, spring break, so it's gonna be nice. In the high 70s, and then obviously into the weekend it's gonna get even more, and then on Monday, high of 78. So if you're taking a trip with your friends or you're staying in LA, it's looking great with all the weather, minus the fact that we are losing an hour of sleep, but it is okay because, you know, we have good weather. So what can we're good with that. With that, I am done here with the weather today. Let's toss it over to Eli and Sam to see what they have with sports.
Time to rejoice, Trojan fans. Andy Enfield officially received his extension. Trojan soccer standouts meet on the international stage, and we make our picks for the men's basketball Pac-12 tournament, all coming up in sports.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay. Yeah. Hey Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
Welcome to ATVN Sports. I'm Sam Reno.
And I'm Eli Kleimann. Breaking news, Major League Baseball and its Players Association were unable to come to a deal over the collective bargaining agreement by the Wednesday afternoon deadline. As a result, 2 more series will be canceled, bringing it up to a total of 4. The league and the Players Association will continue negotiating in hopes of getting their season underway. From the diamond to the hardwood, USC men's basketball head coach Andy Enfield received a contract extension Wednesday morning. The 9th-year head coach has a record of 182 and 116, leading the Trojans. USC has won 25 regular season games, marking a program record. Enfield led the team on an Elite Eight run a season ago and heads into the Pac-12 tournament with high expectations for another deep run in March. Sam, what are your thoughts on the extension?
I mean, Eli, it's a no-brainer move. If you look at this next year's recruiting class, you got Vinci Wachukwu out of SoCal Prep. You've got Trey White out of Prolific Prep. Kajani Wright out of Sierra Canyon. That's good enough for a top 10 class and the best in the Pac-12. That recruiting prowess is exactly why you have to keep Enfield around.
And it is well-deserved. He has led USC on several winning seasons, one of the best head coaches in program history, but he's going to need to have consistent results in March. That's ultimately what you're judged on in college basketball. He took USC to the Elite Eight a year ago, and that's successful. But he can't just have first-round exits in the future because expectations are now higher after getting the contract extension.
Absolutely. The recruits mean nothing if the results don't come along with it. The CONCACAF U20 Championships are at the semifinal stage, with the United States and Canada on a collision course for an all-USC final. All Pac-12 attacker Simone Jackson was mic'd up in last week's U.S. practice.
Okay, we're doing this. 1, 2, 3. Who's up? Oh, all right. Today's gonna be a day. Good. If you need, lift. I cover. If you need. Whoa. Step again. Ooh. Let's reset.
Jackson has found the back of the net for the U.S. 3 times already on this campaign, and should each country win their respective semifinal, she'll see 3 more Trojans on the Canadian side, with Zoe Burns, Brooklyn Courtnall, and Simi Awujo all donning the red and white for Canada. Moving back stateside, the eyes of the Pac-12 turn to Las Vegas this weekend. That means our eyes turn back to the monitor for edition number 2 of our Conference of Champions team draft. Let's get it, Eli.
Here we are. The games have already began, and me and Sam have made our picks. Let's explain the rules.
Once again, we'll give you the rules again. We got 1 point for a win, 2 points if your team gets an upset, another 2 if you reach the semifinal, 3 for reaching the final, and you take home all 4 if you win. And since I won last week by a point, we'll make it fair. I'll let you get the first pick.
Appreciate it. This is our school. We love USC a lot, but not today. Give me UCLA. The Bruins are led by Johnny Juzang. Jaime Jaquez Jr., though, has been the story in the last week. 30 points on Monday at Washington, 27 points against USC on Saturday, and he was unstoppable. USC had no answers for the Bruin Big.
Well, Eli, I'm going to pick that sweatshirt right back up because I'm going with the Trojans, not the Wildcats. Isaiah Mobley played his best game since the injury with 20 points against UCLA over the weekend, and sure, they've struggled of late, but they've still won 25 games. I like this team to continue to get wins, and at the 3 seed, that's a lot of upset points on the board.
That's a solid pick, but I'm going to take the #1 overall team in the Pac-12. That's Arizona. They have Benedict Mathurin. He is Pac-12 Player of the Year. Kerr Carissa is a star as well. The Wildcats are a threat to not only go all the way in the Pac-12 tournament, but in the NCAA tournament.
What's that? That's right. Fresh Beaver is served. Oregon has already taken out Oregon State, and the recent skid dropping them to the 5 seed means there's even more upset points. They don't have Will Richardson, but I still like Jacob Young to give them enough points to get them a couple wins in this tournament.
What do they say in the desert? Forks up. I like Arizona State. That's all we got. Are you over this week, this month, this semester? Students around campus react to National Get Over It Day.
Lávate las manos por 20 segundos como Elmo.
Hay algo especial acerca de este lugar. Se siente como un hogar, una sala debajo del cielo y los árboles. Rodeado de aire fresco y la naturaleza. Todo aquí para que lo disfrutemos y para que lo cuidemos. Tenemos la responsabilidad de cuidar de esta tierra que llamamos casa, de preservarla para las generaciones que vienen. Cada acción pequeña contribuye para un cambio mayor y cada uno de nosotros podemos hacer la diferencia. Hay algo especial acerca de este bosque. Es un lugar donde se hacen recuerdos y juntos podemos preservarla y protegerla.
As you heard our weather anchor Lupe Llerenas, today is National Get Over It Day. So we asked USC students how they get over situations they can't control.
How I get over things I can't control is playing video games, such as Valorant.
I usually work out.
Basically, the way I get over stuff is just watching TV.
Today is not only a good day to reflect on bad or stressful situations. With USC about to go on spring break, many students are excited for a week of relaxation. I definitely get over things by, maybe taking a nice shower, going to bed early on days where I have a lot of homework, and then, getting it done at some point.
Right. I was just going to say, self-care for me. I like to, de-stress, shower, reading. I sometimes read a little bit.
Reading's really nice at night. Thank you so much for watching Annenberg TV News. Today was our first day in the studio, which is super exciting.
Yes.
From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Cassie Esparza.
And I'm Sydney Charles. For more coverage, watch and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Annenberg Media. Good night.